Majo has been in some of my sexual purity classes, quite a number of them. You know the whole script, the way it flows. And every time I call for a flower, they get to know now time for moral purity. Let me just give a background of sexual purity. Then I'll do the preaching. Is that fine? Let me set a segment for moral purity. After years of working with young people, we came to a conclusion that if you're going to help them on the journey of purity, okuswala twakwesonyiwa tetukyaswala. We call a spade and we save the next generation. And I thought I would be shy. Then this one day I took my teenage daughter to a sexual purity talk. Say, I hear you. And the follower of 8 years also wanted to go. I said, you're also welcome. I hope you'll be able to handle what we are going to have. He said, yeah, Daddy, I can manage. The talk was intense. I had to put her head down. I came in the car, they were silent for a while. And then later on, I heard them saying, no one should touch them, meaning private parts. No one should see them, and no one should squeeze them. And I knew that my talk, because there's nobody who's better going to talk to my children than I. And I can't sit them, two of them, and give them a whole talk, but I take them where the things are happening. Drop them there in the workshop, and they hear people firing me questions, and I respond to sexual purity. Uganda's biggest problem is here. If we don't address here, we don't have the future for the next people. And that's why we talk about moral purity. Are you confident to talk about moral purity? Some of you are mothers. You have teenagers and you are struggling. You say, I'll send them to the other auntie. I'll send them to church. They'll talk. Churches also preaching Colossians. They are preaching Leviticus. They don't want to preach that topic. It's never there. Pastors' children are growing up. Nobody has ever talked to them about moral purity. They are holy in all other things, but there's one holy place which is fading here. We are even wedding young people, and they say okusoka na lero, beginning from today, but actually they began long time ago. They've been doing rehearsals. When you send them for honeymoon now, we're going for honeymoon for what? It was already finished. So we're raising a generation of people that are impure, and we need to bring back purity. Touch somebody, tell them we need to bring back purity. Yes. Okay, let's explore. I'll give a slide. What names are people given? Yes, okay. I think I was trying to. What names are people given to others who can't control their sexual drive? I think that's the question I was trying to. What names are people given people who can't control their sexual drive? What names? Yes? Fala. Which other names? Learner's bicycle. Have you heard of that? Halot. Chimpe nchekubire. Chibafu. Yes. Scenario. So every time somebody comes, they will just give me another slide. So these are some of the names me I found with young people. Village bicycle, whoever loves rides. Village basin, anybody can bathe with it. Safety pin. Have you heard of that safety pin? You can't lean on it without being plucked. Eh? There are people who are called that one is a safety pin. Be careful as you relate. Shoe race. Hmm? They even put in there. Abasajja kaguwa kangatu. Buguwa bwanga. They know how it ends. Okay? Nkola ya tax. Hmm? Bonna balye. Okay? Okay. There is an experiment I always do. Can I have a rough paper? Yesterday. Maybe this can also be one of those things to think about as you go to. Imagine our lives start as clean as a white sheet, very plain like this. And circumstances of life begin to crush it, squeeze it, bad relationships, sleeping with boys, trying drugs, smoking, and all life is squeezed totally. Simply because nobody has ever come to talk to us about moral purity. So our life is squeezed by bad circumstances around us. And then all of a sudden, a speaker from Scripture Union, from CPM, from One Reason Mission, comes in your school and talks about moral purity. All of a sudden, and you discover that your folded life needs to come back again straight. Please help me make this paper straight again. Is it back to the original state the way it was like this? It has tried to come back, but it has come back with wrinkles. The same with an impure life that has been lived in impurity. When we try to iron it back, it stays with wrinkles. Young people, choices have consequences. We can try to iron you back, but you would have lost your original state. So before the world spoils you, stay with your original state. Everybody can be doing it. Be the first to say no. Majority sometimes doesn't mean the right thing. Sometimes the majority is the one sleeping around, and the minority are the ones that are keeping the true thing. So keep purity as your highest priority. Give me another slide. So how do you feel about what you did to the clean, beautiful piece of paper, which was white? We often do things that make us feel like trashing our lives like a paper, and restoring them can become a whole difficult journey that we cannot do. Our lunch is around the corner, but Irene will give me a thumbs up and I'll pause. Can I pause? Okay. Yes. When we tried to restore the trashed paper, it was so difficult. Restoring damaged things is always hard, and we should avoid damaging our lives. Restoring damaged things is difficult. Once you have a good life, keep it. Keep it. Don't damage it. And they want to hear that message from a parent, from a leader, maybe from a person like us, telling them restoring damaged things is not easy. Better keep the life that you have. There is another demonstration. Do you have a mineral bottle which they have not? No, I needed a. Yes, thank you so much. When we go to buy water and you find it is sealed, you're excited, you want to buy that. But if you come and water has had its seal broken, and somebody drank a little bit and they closed, And they said this water bottle was 2,000, but it's now 1,500. How many of you would want to buy it? So the same with purity. Every time they open the seal, people are struggling to actually take up this. There's a story we tell for young people using a precious gift. A young man is given a bottle of very nice juice by his father and told to keep it carefully without opening it until he hands it over to his auntie who went to a far country. Because he had been told the gift was so precious and sweet, he was tensed. What is inside that gift? So in opening, he finds it's a bottle of very nice juice. And so, out of curiosity, he goes on and tests. But the more he tested, the more he went on to test because it is sweet. It was a gift already covered. And I told him, don't open. But the more he tested, he tested. Soon, when he saw that he had taken a lot of it, he packed it back and wrapped it back again in its own seal and waited for the auntie to get it. But remember, the bottle is already halfway full. It is no longer full because he opened it, drank, and then when he realized the owner will come, he covered it and wrapped it back again as though it is still full. And years later, the auntie came back, and the young man pretended he's handing over the gift. I've never touched it, it is here. Please receive. We have some reflections on that gift. Give me the next slide. How do you feel when you give it to her? And how will your aunt feel when you give that gift to her? What do you think your father's reaction would be for what you did? Was it right to act that way? Give me the last slide. That gift in that story is sexual purity. There is a gift God gave, He wrapped it, and He told us as young people, never open it. He knows it is sweet. When you open, you'll never stop drinking. And when you discover that you are soon needing to get married, you wrap it back again and you wait to hand it over to your future husband. But inside you, you are guilty that you are giving up a half gift. So sexual purity is like that. In fact, the Bible warns us not to awaken love before its time. I had a friend of mine who kept on telling me when we were still young people, Patrick, the reason why for you are saying because you have not tested. When you test these things, every other time you'll be testing. Every other time. Kayanja died at age 25. We buried him. He died of HIV and AIDS. And he had used more than 12 young people before he actually contracted AIDS. The gift is wrapped, and we are told to protect and never open it until that marriage day. And we as young people can keep that gift without opening it. I want to explore more about this. Can you touch yourself? Now I'm assuming you're young people. I'll choose to keep myself pure. Say it as you mean it. May that be your prayer all the days of your life. It is possible to keep yourself pure. Real young men keep themselves pure. Good girls keep themselves pure. And if you're seated here and you have already done it before, and now you want to start a new journey, there is what we call a secondary virginity. God giving you a second chance. And now not to keep sleeping around, but to keep yourself pure until university when you are married and you give yourself to one sexual partner. It is possible. It is achievable. And many people have been able to go through it. One more. Okay, let me talk about the adolescence years, and then later on, I'll release us to lunch. The adolescent years bring on the onset of puberty, the time when you become sexually mature. We call them adolescent years. And the flood of hormones is intense and continues throughout to our 20s. They tell us between the age of 11, adolescence, up to the age of 20, the hormones are so high. In fact, when we go to speak to these schools in teenagers, even, for example, for you now, because you're an adult, I can feel free, I can give you a hug, I can greet. But sometimes I'm sensitive even to give a hug to a teenager, because one hug can speak 1,000 messages. You know that uncle, when he comes over, he gave me a hug, man. Oh, this guy. He's married, but so young people, the sexual hormones are already active. So adolescence brings on the onset of puberty. There is a lot of chemistry going on, and you need to help them to understand the sexual drive is there, and it is normal. I just challenge them. Actually, if you don't have any feelings, please see a medical doctor. I challenge them because that's a stage of feelings. Banpo. It's a period of great confusion, curiosity, excitement. Everything in their body is gearing towards sexual activity, and the sexual desire is great. And they need to talk to somebody trusted on how they feel about it. Young people, there is room for you to talk to us after this session. You're free to come to us and ask. Whatever you cannot talk about, you cannot win. A problem shared is a problem half solved. Problems grow bigger in the dark. If you are able to talk about it, you are able to win it. Come, let's talk. Is it wet dreams? Is it menstrual periods? What is it? Open up your life and speak and get help. We live in a time when we are open now that you can share and get help. And you can be helped. God created us male and female, and he intended it that we can be attracted to one another. He gave each person an endowment of the physical force that enable us to be attracted to each other. Psychologists call it the drives. That's why in secondary school, girls feel comfortable to sit closer to boys. They may not say a word, but they feel chemistry flows better when they are closer. When you separate, you create boredom in the school. When you bring them, they may not say a word, but they'll feel, yeah, the heartbeat is now normal. Eh? In single-sex schools, I don't know how people do it, but on social, I hear, social functions, girls almost run crazy. Some of them even get hysteria because they rarely see that species coming over. Boys and girls in this stage, you should live as friends, and at this stage, make many friends and be a lover to none. Say to your friend, I'm assuming you're teenagers, tell your friend, make many friends, be a lover to none. I hope that sinks, eh? Make many friends, but be a lover too. It's a time of making friends. And my girls, listen to me. If you only make a circle of only girls, never boys, never associate, you become weaker to relate with boys. And when one boy breaks into your circle, he ends up sleeping with all of you. The same with boys. If they made only a circle of boys alone, and one girl gets into their circle, may end up messing up. But God created it to be healthy, for us to exist together, talk, share. People who have grown up in a balanced family, it has boys and girls, they interact freely. And so girls are not a precious thing. Most young people that have gone unlucky, gone through only girls' school in primary, girls' school secondary. When they reach the university, they see every boy as a precious gift. Now, for us who have grown in mixed school, girls are normal beings. We shake hands with them, we do homework with them, we travel with them, we laugh with them, give a high five, we stop there, continue. But you who's been isolated, when you come into their circles, they look like a precious material. Let me do one more, and then we stand warned as young people that drives don't mean we begin sex. Although sex, although the sex drive is God-given and very good, it must be controlled just like any other drives that God has given us. Tell your neighbor, we have drives we can control. You can control. When you feel the feelings, I put some brakes. Now, the challenge with young people, the time of high sexual feeling, that's when you begin to watch bad movies, listen to sexualized songs. Now, the body is already on fire, and you add on firewood. And that's why many of us young people cannot control our sexual drive. You're watching blue movies and the body is already excited. You're watching soaps, you're listening sexualized music, so you can't control because you're already adding firewood to already a burning body. So you cannot control. And this message goes even to us adults. You're still single, and what you're watching, what you're listening, the series you're following cannot enable you to control. So the sexual drive will be so high, before we know it, you are cohabiting. We can control the drives by what we hear, by what we watch, and the kind of company of friends that we choose to surround us. Sexual drives are controllable. That's why though science categorizes us as animals, in the class of animals, human beings are totally apart because we have the ability to control. If you were a cock, you would chase every hen on the village, but a human being has some brakes. Tell your neighbor, we have some brakes. Let me pause there. We will go deeper.